okay? Here is what we'll need to do, we'll be looking at for Module 3. Module 3 has to do with the self and interaction. You'll learn the process of socialization, which is how we internalize culture into our personal lives, how we frame our sense of self, and through our interactions with others. We'll look at the influences shape the creation of statuses and role behaviors in a society. So please take a minute and look over this Module 3 learning objective set. Describe the process of how a norm is learned and internalized, how agents of socialization influence social roles, identify a social status and role expectation inequalities of social status, and describe the role conflict and role strain and its influence on our behavior. Please take a moment and read this. I will be covering this a little bit later in this video. Here are the readings and resources. A lot of these readings and resources have to do with socialization and with how different people, according to social status, are socialized in perhaps slightly different ways, according to race, gender, and ethnicity. There's a discussion here on agents of socialization. Agents of socialization, okay, are the families, schools, the media, and peer groups where our primary socialization takes place. One of the agents of socialization, our family, will socialize us. It's the first place where gender roles begin to be shaped. And indeed, even before we're born, our parents will say, people will ask our parents, is it a boy or a girl? That's usually the first thing that people ask. So this exercise looks at how our families, through providing us with toys, tend to socialize boys and girls differently. And you'll have a chance to explore socialization and the differential gender patterns of socialization in this discussion. Then we're going to look at statuses and roles, okay? We'll talk about these in a moment as we go through our assignment, okay? Please take a look at, always have a brief review of the Module 3 work guidelines and rubric before you get started. You're going to be looking at different statuses, whether each status is or ascribed or achieved, role expectations, conflict, and role strain. And one example of a status, it might be a place, a place where inequality might transpire. Now, what do all these terms mean? Let's take a look at these. I'm going to provide you with a brief slideshow which will explain these. Okay, socialization is a process that begins from when we're born and goes on throughout our entire lives. But the critical first 5 to 10 years of life, or when sociologists are what focus on the processes of personality formation through interaction with social forces. What's social experience? Why does it define personality? So socialization is a lifelong social experience by which people develop their human potential and learn culture. A personality is a fairly consistent pattern of acting, thinking, and feeling, built by internalizing our surroundings. Humans need social experience to learn their culture and to survive. We depend on others to provide care, physical growth, personality development, and to learn norms, rules, and values, and practical knowledge. Nurture is our nature. Okay, so it's not this dichotomy that we usually think about. Nurture matters in shaping behavior, right? So let's talk about this concept, agents of socialization. An agent of socialization is quite straightforwardly where we begin to become fully human. And the first place this happens is in the family. It's nurture in early childhood. The responsibility falls on parents and other family members to socialize a very young child, okay? Not all family learning results from intentional teaching. Children will observe. This is also a place where we get a sense of what it means to be in a race category, or what it means to be a boy or a girl. Then we go to school. School engages children's social world. We encounter people who are different, and we come to understand race, gender, social class position. It's also the first place where we become exposed to rules that apply to everyone, not just us specifically, as we might in our family. Schools socialize young boys and girls into gender roles and continue right through college. A peer group is a social group whose members have interest, social position, and age in common. It allows a child and then an adult, a young adult, to escape the direct supervision of adults. In a rapidly changing society, peer groups have great influence. Peers affect short-term interest, but parental influence remains strong. And any neighborhood or school is made up of many peer groups. Childhood is where we begin. Most North Americans view childhood as carefree time of learning and play. This is a cultural concept. The idea of childhood is a new idea. If we went back in time, there wouldn't necessarily have been a concept of a child. It would just be a human being who was young, right? It's a cultural concept, not biological. Indeed, adolescence emerged with the industrial era as a buffer between childhood and adulthood. And it values according to social background, according to gender and race and ethnicity. Adulthood is a time of life when most accomplishments take place, and where we go through the stages of our life. Here, the primary socialization, or the initial socialization that we encountered when we were children, comes into play as we move throughout the life course. And finally, old age, right? The later years of adulthood and the final stage of life. So, social structure is built from the ground up through social interaction, the process by which people act and react in relation to others. A social status is a social position that a person holds. A status set is all the statuses a person holds at a given time, and it changes every life. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm a male, I'm white, I'm 66, I have a PhD. We could go down a list, but these are social statuses. They're positions that I hold. Now, there are two kinds of status we want to differentiate, and this will help you with your assignment. An ascribed status is a social position a person receives at birth or takes involuntarily later in life. It matters. It's a matter about which we have little choice. Race, sex at birth, sexuality, your age as you move through the life course. These are ascribed statuses. An achieved status, on the other hand, is a social position a person takes on voluntarily that reflects personal ability and efforts. So, your assignment asks you to list ascribed and achieved status, okay? So a role is a behavior expected of someone who holds a particular status. A person holds a status and they perform a role. In every society, actual role performance varies according to not only a person's personality, but what sort of statuses they hold, right? Whether they're male or female, what their race or ethnicity is, their age, and so forth. A role set is a number of roles attached to a single status. Let me give you an example. You're a student here at Southern New Hampshire University. You have a role set. You have different behaviors for each of the classes you're enrolled in. You're studying different material. You may have different approaches to studying, and so forth. Now, so a role is behavior associated with a particular status. Now, roles create tension. Role conflict comes into play if there are two or more statuses. We all have two or more statuses, and we all experience both role conflict and role strain. Let me articulate the difference because people often get confused. Conflict just doesn't mean it's fraught or it's troubling. It has a specific meaning here, the word. If you're a student and you're a parent, many of you people are parents here, and your child falls ill, but you have a test, that's going to be two different statuses, and you have behavior associated with each of these two different statuses that comes into tension. Okay? That's role conflict. It's tension between the role behaviors and expectations for two different statuses. Role strain, on the other hand, is tension among roles connected to a single status. You're a student. That's a status. You may have a test here, a paper due there, and a quiz in a third class, right? Those may all come into tension with each other. That is a single status. That's role strain. So hopefully, this will give you a good overview and a good, solid way to get started here, moving forward with our Module 3 work. Thank you.